I'm the Frugal Gardener, and this is going to be a very, very special series for me. I hope that you take the time to stick with me through this because it's important. I mean, sometimes you have to go backwards in order to progress, to move forward. And this is one of those cases. I am in the process of doing a series about uh, staying healthy for the winter. This is not that series, and the reason why I've held off on posting that on starting that series is because I did I ran into a friend. Actually, it's an in-law who said that she had to stop gardening because of health problems and because of her age, and that got me to thinking, how many times have I heard that? And I've been hearing that quite a bit. So I don't usually do a lot of research. I don't do a lot of number crunching on YouTube. I just put up what I think people need or want to hear. And I found out something startling. I found out that 70% of the people who watch my videos are over age 45. So that was news to me. As a matter of fact, I'm going to check my stats. 75% over 45. So, that those two things together have said to me that a lot of people that watch these videos probably aren't out here gardening because of physical restraints or because of their age. So, how are you going to use the information that I give you on gardening? Basically, what it's going to be is how to plant and grow superfoods in the fall and winter so that you can stay healthy. How's that information going to be used if people aren't able to get out and garden? So here we are. This series is for people who are basically either some sort of way physically impaired where they aren't able to get down and garden, or or over 40, and even for first-time gardeners. So this is episode 1 in that series, and here we go. Hope you stick with me. There are parts of this series that aren't going to seem that exciting, but when you see it come together, you'll understand why I use this approach. You can't put together a car or an airplane and say, well, I don't need this part, I don't need that part. You need the whole thing. So this is the reason why I'm starting from the beginning. So here it is. So one thing that I would say that everybody needs, the one thing before you do anything, before you plant a seed, before you come up with a plan, before you do any of the things that you would normally do when you're planting a garden, is you need, and I'm going to put this right here so everybody can see it, one of these. It's a bench, a stool. I mean, it's a little chair, however you want to call it. This is first and foremost what I suggest that you get, because you know the old expression, work smarter, not harder. This little thing, it's only 6 pounds. I got it from Amazon, 5, 6 years ago, and it has been a lifesaver. So when I talk to people about gardening in their 60s and 70s, I'm including myself in that category. So I know from whence I speak. This is what I do on a daily basis. So I'm not telling you about what I read in some book. I'm not telling you about what somebody told me. This is how I garden, and this is how I get to do this, and what I'm about to show you. This bench folds. You can see where the wires are, the springs rather. This folds up. You can stick it underneath my arm. It's only 6 pounds, and yet it is rated to hold 300 pounds. There are pockets that go on the sides. I don't use those. They're convenient, but I move this thing around a lot. So before you do anything, or if you are already gardening, get yourself one of these because you're going to need it. If you don't want to buy this particular brand, get a stool, a bench, get a chair, anything that you can sit down on. Why? Because during this series, there's certain words you're going to hear me use over and over again. And those are basically organization, elevation, simplification, communication, and conversation. Conversation, I know it's probably got your head scratching, got you scratching your head, but today I'm going to focus on elevation. This is where these two things come in. I garden on 4.5 acres of land. I mean, the homestead is 4.5 acres of land. I garden on probably a quarter of an acre, so not even a half an acre. But the one thing you'll notice, and the reason why I've shown this again, is roughly half of my garden is elevated. So there's that word, elevated. To start out, you're going to want to elevate a good portion of your garden for obvious reasons, because you don't have to bend. One of the biggest complaints I've heard from people who are over 40 is the kneeling and the bending. These crates are 12 inches, so a foot high, 2 crates, 2 feet high. Now, you take your stool, which is probably about 1.5 feet. I had the exact measurements, but I'm not going to bore you guys with a bunch of numbers. I can show you better than I can tell you. So here's your stool, here's your garden, or here's your container, and you're right there. So that knocks out the kneeling, that knocks out the bending. I have 14 of these right now, so I could have just put them down on the ground, and I would have had 28 containers to plant in, but by elevating those, I just saved my back, I just saved some time, and put myself in a position where I can tend to these right now. I need to take these leaves out. So anything you can get to get your garden off the ground is going to help you tremendously. These are my lavender plants. I don't do much with them, but if I did, I would have to kneel, I would have to bend, I would have to spend time and energy doing something that I know is going to further injure me or make me uncomfortable. So instead, this is a classic example of what I've done. We've been eating off of this for a while, so these have seen better days, but I'm still getting some use out of these. This chair is roughly the size of those crates. So again, you can use a chair. This is my favorite right here. This is my favorite. This is obviously a tree stump. It's not going anywhere. You can put as much weight on here as you want. It's not going to move. I'm growing bok choy in here. I got the label turned around. But bok choy, again, same situation. You get the point. I don't want to belabor it. Here's the stool. Here's the bok choy. You're in business. Here's the stool. Here's the lettuce. Same thing. Just move this thing around to where it needs to go. And there's your solution to your garden. I'll come back to this in another video, but that's watercress. That's going to be part of my healthy video series that's going to follow this series. So anything. You don't have to go out and buy stands. This is my red Russian kale, and this this is a bin. I told you, we live on a homestead, and this is where we keep our chicken feed. We have to keep it sealed away from the raccoons and the possums and the squirrels, and so I get double use out of this by putting the plants up above so that I can get to them very easily. Okay, so once you've done that, then what? You need to get started, and the way you're going to do that is you need soil. Now, for years, I have used those big old, bulky, heavy bags of soil. They come in a container similar to what you have over here. It's a little junky back here, but I'm going to show this to you anyway. This is mulch, but you know what I'm talking about if you've done any gardening. This is pretty much the same size bag that the soil comes in, except for one thing. The bags that I buy are 40 pounds a piece. So good luck if you want to keep lugging that around, especially if you're in your 40s or 50s, especially if you have a bad back or bad knees. So instead of buying something like that, you want to get something like this. This is a game changer for me also. This is what I just recently started using. There are companies now, you're going to probably see more and more of this. They compact this soil. This bag, this cube equals 2 bags of regular soil, and it's organic. And basically, uh, this is going to make it a lot easier for you to transport whatever it is, whatever soil or anything that you're buying. So I'm going to give you 3 tips between now and the end of this video, which shouldn't take me much longer. And tip 1 is when you go to the store, when you go to pick up your soil, the best time to go is Monday to Thursday. Why? Because the weekend's over, pretty much everybody's back at work, and you kind of have the place to yourself. And when you have questions, when you want to talk to somebody, it's easier to get a hold of a sales rep or somebody from the store that can help you with whatever questions you have. It's kind of like having your own shopping assistant. I was in Home Depot about a week ago, and 3 different people walked up to me and asked me if I needed help. So this way, any questions you have, you can easily get somebody, well, I say easily, the places where I shop, you can easily get help if you go while everybody's at work or at school. So that's number 1. And number 2, I already given you. That is the packaging. When you buy cubes, you don't have to fight with those big bags. Those bags of soil are not airtight, and when they get wet, they're even heavier to lift, and it's a struggle. So that's one of the things that I dealt with as a gardener, as an older gardener, as a senior, that I don't want to have to deal with anymore. So I buy those cubes. Um, I had somebody ask me, are they hard to break up? And the answer is no. Once you get them in your garden, just open the bag, take a shovel, and they come apart pretty easily. But they're kind of like, it's almost like a vacuum seal, which makes it a lot easier, keeps the moisture out, and it's easier to store when you put it in the trunk of your car. Now, that brings me to number 3. which is something a lot of people don't know. My friend Pat told me this one. A lot of the big box stores, basically, you'll see where they have bags that are busted open. And I just found out from her that if you go to the manager, again, if you go during the week when it's not crowded, it's easier to get a hold of a manager or supervisor, somebody that you can talk to, and they sell these things at a discount, sometimes up to half off. So if you don't have the money to buy the kind of cubes that I just showed you, and you need soil or you need extra soil, then you find these bags, you find a manager, you get yourself a deal. So the final thing that I'm going to go over in this particular video in phase one of this, because we're going to get to the good stuff in the second video. This is my new greenhouse that I am rearranging, and here's my cilantro in there. Is something that people don't take advantage of, and that is getting your materials home, your compost, your nutrients, your grass seed, uh, your soil. I do not carry my own soil to my car, and I think you know where I'm going here. When you make your purchase, you talk to the person at the register, and you basically tell them that you need somebody to come out and put your order in your car, and they are happy to do it. As a matter of fact, a year ago, I tried to tip a guy at Lowe's, and I was told that they weren't allowed to receive tips. So you just back your car up, and they put your soil or what have you in the trunk of your car, and you're off and running. That's it. So on uh, the second installment of Gardening Over 40, I'm going to show you how to get that soil from your car into your garden. Not only that, we're going to actually start planting a couple things. And the one thing that I really want you guys to understand is that this is not going to be the end all. Planting in these small containers, these are carrots here, this is not raised. But planting in these containers is just the beginning. Your whole garden is not going to have to be, unless you want it to be, a bunch of these containers. You'll be surprised at what you can actually plant in these. But my point is, this is the starting point. This is where we actually get your garden set up, get you organized, and then eventually I'm going to show you how to move on to larger containers and actual vertical gardening and expand pretty much as you like. But right now, I just want you guys to get started. Get yourself a nice stool, get yourself some soil, get yourself some seeds, and the next video, we're going to supercharge this, and things are going to pick up quite a bit. You'll see where I'm going with this. This whole business of not having to do a lot of walking, a lot of bending, a lot of work. There is so much more to this. Hope you guys stick with me. I'm the Frugal Gardener. Please subscribe, and you'll get notifications of this series if you hit the bell. And we're going to go forward so that by the time this winter comes, by the time winter comes, you'll be in a good position to grow your own food. So this is the Frugal Gardener, and like I always tell you, when you grow your own food, you'll always know where it comes from. Catch you in the next video.